Bless you, Marcia. There's Cindy. Hop in, Sin. All right, howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. All right, let's get this show on the road. So, while we're getting set up here a little bit, take a moment to thank you, folks, for taking a moment of your time to be part of this precious family. Okay, once you make it to the spiritual report at the end here, you will see what I mean by how special this family is. Okay, it's not your ordinary YouTube live stream. You get caught up in this like a good movie or a good book. All right, so let's jump in, shall we? December 9th, 2024. And you can see our little loop playing here. Let me get some of these wavy little lines out the way there. Right about there is probably kind of good. December 11th, I'm scared for the weather. Okay, well, keep praying and just be prepared, okay? Don't be scared, just be prepared. All right, let's get it started here. Let me catch this opening frame. Not much really to look at here. We're going to focus more tonight on our earthquake report, because we've had an earthquake that was very close to me, and I felt it quite violently. Not quite violently, but very thoroughly, we will say. Okay, because it was just about, epicenter was about 20 miles as the crow flies from me. So I felt it pretty good, and no surprise because of all the pressure we have down below. So instead of going frame by frame, you can see our little, not much activity going on right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is come on over here to the solar ham. Let me open that up here. Did you see the Dave Dobbs video I shared on the last stream? No, I haven't. I'll have to go check that out. All right, here we go. Our solar flux index is at 173. It's dropping. It's down 5 points right there. Okay, you can see your sunspot number is in the green with 94 here, and we're down 9 spots. So some of that activity that we saw in the sun was just little spits and butters, these little objects entertaining the sun, interacting with it, and then moving on. All right, areas in the green, so we're all good there. What I want to do, actually, not this one. Go back. That one's terrible. Okay, here we go with our sunspot regions. Just really quick to touch base with these so we're aware of what we're talking about. 3912 is this one over here on the side. Okay, this is the one we're going to be talking about tonight over here. And then we got another spot, I guess, going to come around here. But note this little patch right here in the middle, 3917, this area right here, center disk. But all our activity has been coming out of this. So, oh, you're okay. It's not interrupting, sweetie. You're part of the show. You're one of my best supporters, so you may interrupt at any time you like. Well, look over here. Shall we zoom in? All right, there we go. So, last time when we left off, or day before yesterday, I had to take a little break and get some rest here. But we were talking about this X2.2 that had happened right at the end of the show, okay? And we saw all the activity that happened here. We can go back and take a peek at this. You saw today just a little bit of bumpiness, and then here we go into our tomorrow with an event that we're just coming out of right here. So let's come back over here, back up a little bit. There's the 10th. Going to refresh it for every frame. You don't want to see this? Really? Well, tough. We're going to do it anyway. And it's not much to look at. You can see this fire region right here that's all glowing is continuing to spit stuff out here. So something probably coming out of this region right here. This still hasn't caught up to the very latest frames. Okay, so there's just a little peak. It's probably going to be coming out of this fire region. Okay, pretty sure it is, unless it's down here too. But you can see this is getting really active and glowing really bright. And if we watched on the last loop here at the very tail end, see how it's barely there and it starts to form at the tail end of this event here? Starts firing up right here at the end. Okay, so it's probably coming out of that region. Now, back to our solar ham. We'll come back and check on this a little later at the end of the show and see if we got some updated data. Okay, so somebody remind me so I don't forget because I got so much going on. All right, 3-day geomagnetic forecast here. Sorry. All clear for the next 3 days is what they're forecasting. Okay, now that we have the CME from this coming, going to sideswipe us a little bit, we might receive just a glancing blow from this X2.2. Okay, and when it hit, it caused a type 2 radio blackout. All right. X flare potential still 10%. It could be a little bit higher, seeing as how we almost had an X flare right there. And what we can do is tap into this really quick. I want to see the magnitude on that flare, so bear with me a sec. There it is right there. And it was an M6.4. Okay, it looked a little stronger than that, but it was an M6.4 at its maximum. Okay, so covered that. So M6.4 right there. Now, here at your auroras, you can see that we're getting a little yellow band right in here again. So a little uptick in geomagnetic activity right now occurring as we're doing the show. Also here at your KP, you can see that we've had this little spike here at 4, came down, climbing back up to 4 again. So we are absorbing, it's not a lot, but we are absorbing some geomagnetic energy, all right? And that's what's causing our pressure down below, our earthquakes, our volcanoes and everything, all because of pressure down below trying to make its way to the surface. And this is the latest little bit of energy that's come in. Now, it doesn't happen right away. It takes a while for it to absorb, for the shell and the core to grind, and for that pressure to make its way back up to the surface of the planet. So you don't see your results right away, but you do see them a couple of days later. So here's your little yellow. It's not much. So we'll probably see another little spike around here, maybe a KP of 4 or something in the future. Meanwhile, beta gamma on our 37 or 3917 and beta gamma on our 3912. And 3912 is still growing. So that might be the one. It has a little thing. So yeah, as of today, solar wind stream flowing from the new geo-effective coronal hole is currently moving past Earth. So an unsettled KP3 to active KP4 geomagnetic conditions will be possible. All right, especially the BZ component of the interplanetary IMF field points south for a longer period of time. Okay, so we could get KP3 or 4. Okay, just like I was saying there. That's the 8 solar activity yesterday. The impulsive X2.2 solar flare early Sunday morning has been moderate. Now we're going to open up this tracker, do some track-a-lacking since we are lacking the tracking. And since I missed it yesterday, they're not showing it. So it was just barely clipping the earth there. Let's come on over to see this one. Maybe they got it going on. Load this one up. I used to have all this stuff loaded up pre-show, but my computer can't handle it anymore. Yeah, they're not showing the CME that's coming off there. Most of you saw it at some of these other shows at other places. It was typically our typical one starting right about here at Earth and bowing this way. So kind of going this direction out of the screen in a bow-shaped fashion, okay? Just barely clipping the Earth. So we might get a little impulse from that. Okay, so let me back on out of that and come on over here to solar or spaceweather.com. Dr. Tony Phillips. Let me take a sip here. Okay, the solar storms are still driving the farmers crazy. It makes their little planting machines go off kilter. Our tractors acted like they were demon possessed. They showed some pictures of the fields that were out here. You can see how the fields are all wavy like this because the tractor was on GPS and kind of wiggled all the way up and down because of their GPS is out of whack right now. You can come over here and read all about it. There's a good little graph here on the ionosphere. Just click on that really quick. You can come over here and see how there's different layers. There's the mesosphere, the thermosphere, the exosphere, and all these layers right here constitute the ionosphere. So there's good little tutelage over here. If you want to know more about it, you can come over and check that out. Okay, so I'm going to come back over to here. That's enough of that. What we need to do is get on into our Schumann resonance. And bear with me just a sec here. All right, here we go. There's your Schumann. Yay, finally a good Schumann report. Now, looking kind of good. But do you see this weakness right here, right where my little arrow is? That little spot where it got very faint? Okay, that's dangerous right there. So we came out of our long period of grinding, 3 days long grinding, a lot of pressure down below, finally starting to be released. And now we're seeing the release of pressure, stopping the grinding effect. We get a little weakness right here. Okay, so that was a little dangerous right there. It tries to kind of sputter and come back to life. Then another little spot of weakness right there. Those two spots are dangerous because that's where the magnetic field gets really weak and radiation can penetrate it. Okay, so tries to come back to life a little bit, little weakness here. And then as we go into this latest couple hours right here, we're going back into another session here. We're not fully grinding, but you can see that it's starting another little uptick right here. Okay, so we'll keep this around for a minute. You can see that this relief of pressure, volcano went off, all kinds of earthquakes. I had the earthquake by me. So we've had, since that release of pressure, this little relief down below. Okay, now what I want to do is we're going to come over here. Can I get rid of this one? Yeah, we'll get rid of it. And we'll open up the null school. earth.nullschool.net. Okay, you can see your convergence zone still a little high off of the equator there, but what I'm going to start doing is the storms really quick. You can see we have one up here, Gulf of Alaska, right around where our earthquake activity is happening up here at Alaska. Okay, and then there's another one over here in the middle. Smaller one right here. Look at this over here, going off the Pacific or the Atlantic, or just south of Greenland here. All right, now what I want to do is get into our particulates, do our sandstorm report. Sorry, we're just kind of blazing through these so we can get to the earthquake. Okay. All right, there's a good sand plume coming off of Africa, very intense across the Atlantic, still ongoing sandstorm, haltering, Hurricane Genesis in this region there. Some of that out of there a little bit. There we go. All right. So you can see we've had some of this intensity in our sandstorm here picking up and then blowing out into the Atlantic. All right, here we go. Let's come over to this side now. Yeah, it's still there. Meanwhile, a little intense plume right along the side here of Saudi Arabia going towards the Gulf of Aden there. Okay. Australia has its own independent sandstorm going on. Okay. All right, so haltering hurricane production, but there's your sandstorm going on for over a year now. That's crazy. Okay, let's get into our SO2 now. SO2, not CO2. Basically, vaporized magma. Magma in gas form almost. Okay, this is the gas that surrounds the magma down below. And when pressure builds from the core, pushing outward on the underside of the crust, well, it wants to come out any kind of perforation it can. And you can see we got country divided here. On the right side, we have very porous crust. Okay, it's very spongy, has a lot of nooks and crannies and alleys for pressure to come up through. On the left, we have more thick granite, mountainous crust, so your perforations are more volcanic sites. There you go. This gas comes out of the ground so hot that it can cause a fire. It can cause spontaneous combustion of the surrounding vegetation. And now up here in Canada again, we're seeing more. These yellow ones are the ones I'm looking at, okay? The red ones I'm not counting. But it's these yellow fires, these yellow ones up here in Canada are starting to spark up again because of the latest round of pressure shoving more SO2 out from underneath the underside of the crust. These are all little red speckles through here, so I don't count those. Looking for something significant. Nope. Only up here in this region of Canada is our significant fires for the moment right now. All right, let's take them off. Let's back on out. You can see intense plumes way up here in Canada. So we come down, half the country bleeding out, the other half all volcanic sites. We come down through Mexico. They have this coming out of their ground too, as well as Cuba, Dominican Republic, Jamaica. They're all volcanic islands, okay? So they're every time pressure builds, it wants to come out of the path of least resistance, which is an old volcano sometimes, okay? So these old volcanic sites, these old islands, all spewing SO2. There's so much, it's going all the way down the side of South America. We come in here to the fulcrum point on our plate boundary system, and there's a good spot right there. The other ones look really weak right now because this one's so strong, so it's probably stealing some of the pressure in the region, transferring pressure to the main site. As we come on down, you can see that it's very strong emissions along here. We have a decent little plume going out into the Pacific there, okay? We're going to come around here, stop in at Hawaii. Hawaii being the hub of the Pacific Rim, much like a bicycle rim. Pressure comes out anywhere it can, especially in the middle. So Oahu is emitting a bunch of SO2. Meanwhile, volcano and earthquake activity, SO2 activity on Hawaii. Coming around here to this side of the world, we're going to back up for their time frame, for their time zone. Okay, and you can see China still a big bruise on the face of the planet. Looks like a big black eye. They got very porous crust over here as well, and fissures are opening up now. Not just little holes in the ground, they're actually cracks in the ground and fissures and stuff that are opening up, causing SO2 emissions at very intense levels there. India is following suit here. You can see they got the effect of the Himalayas. Wind blows this stuff up against the Himalayas. It can't cross over, so it recycles around and just stays in that region. And then you can see the Middle East. We can understand why it's increasing over here. Okay, they're also seeing methane emissions as well, and methane being a flammable gas coming out at thousands of degrees as a flammable gas. All it needs is oxygen. It doesn't even need a spark. It's already at temperature. So as soon as it hits oxygen, boom, you have methane emissions coming out of the sand here, causing pits that are opening up with fire in them. You're also having this, which is SO2 emissions. This is not flammable, but if there were surrounding vegetation, it could catch it on fire. And you can see Middle East bleeding out too. I'd like to come over here, check on Taiwan. Taiwan was and still is a relief valve kind of in the whole plate boundary system, and a lot of earthquake activity here before and has kind of stopped lately. So now we're seeing SO2 emissions, very strong SO2 emissions out of Taiwan instead of the earthquake activity that was relieving pressure there. So pressure's building up and you're starting to see it come out of Taiwan. We have been seeing it come out of Taiwan for a while now. Japan, volcanic island. Okay, look at North and South Korea filling in. All of this area up here getting very, very dark and intense. I'm going to come down here to Java. It's another relief valve active type situation here where we have volcanoes, a plate boundary, and SO2 emissions. So it looking, if you put all this gas that blew off into the ocean back on there, it'd be a little darker. Okay, then we're going to come over here really quick and touch base with this region. And we'll talk about what's going on here in this region a little bit in detail on our volcano report here, because we have Tonga, which is right off of Fiji here. This is our deep quake region, and we're having SO2 emissions out of Fiji and out of some of these little islands. Well, there's a new island, a new volcano crested the surface out here by Tonga. So now we have a new volcano and a new island forming over here. Meanwhile, we have this island, this pencil-shaped island right here that's right on the entrance of the plate boundary system, and it acts like a relief valve. It relieves pressure like a slow leak in a bicycle tube. Okay, so when pressure comes up from down below and wants to vent at the surface as an earthquake, well, this is relieving the pressure, so the earthquake activity and magnitudes have been down in this region from a deep quake, and our surface quakes have been down because of that. And this will come in later in our earthquake report, okay? Now, what I want to do is get back out of here. Let's get on over to the water, okay? Because this is the main driver of a lot of what's going on here. Not the water, but the thermal activity on the ocean floor. Okay, so we're going to come over here to this region right now. And as we tilt this forward so we can get some color out of this thing here. Now, here's the Juan de Fuca comes out of this point at Crescent City, comes out, goes up the coast right here. All this area has cold water inundation, and now you're starting to see a little patch grow right here, and another little patch still sustained there. The heat and energy is down below the Juan de Fuca. This red patch right here has been causing all the earthquake activity in that region, okay? You can also see this is turning yellow. So we have a little vent right here, something going on, and then all this activity out in the ocean too. All right. All kinds of volcanic venting going on the ocean floor, causing hot water plumes to reach to the surface. Over here at Taiwan, we're seeing yellow inundation in here. Something has opened up on the ocean floor in between, just north of Taiwan here, up here. And that's relieving pressure instead of here at the fulcrum point. So you can see we have a little leakage here by the fulcrum point and a little at the north, and that's reducing pressure or relieving pressure in the region, keeping the quakes down in that region. Look at this hot spot over here growing. And this spot down there. So you can tell these are all just individual little openings on the ocean floor. Now, no matter what's coming out, whether it's hot water, steam, magma, even heavy metals, okay, whatever it is hot. And as that heat comes out, the cold water down below shoves it into a column, makes it this big, like round column tube-like structure of heat, hot water rising up to the surface. Once it hits the surface tension won't let it boil over or whatever, and then it blossoms out in a plume. So you're seeing all these plume heads from vents on the ocean floor. Okay, where else are we going here? We're going to come over here down by Java really quick. Now, we've seen a lot of pressure relief in this area, and when we do, cold water can inundate. We're having cold water inundation just to the west of the Java region and just offshore here. Okay, there's a little bit of cold water trying right here. We had Krakatoa go off right here, which relieves pressure in the area. So, and then we have another little opening just over this way that pressure transfers over to here. Okay. All that down there. Look at the coast of Africa there. Still looking like half a lion's face hiding behind the continent there. And then here's your Atlantic. All right. Self-taught. That's a kind of a hard question to answer. The Lord. Let's just say the Lord helps me. Okay. You can see all of this speckling going on out here. This is going to be bad news for this region, okay, because the weather heating up over this. Okay, so now what I want to do, you can see all this cold water inundation coming around the tip of Florida along the east coast here too. Still got some kind of sight right there. But cold water right here, hot water right there. We could easily see rotation in that region here soon. All right, now what I want to do is get these winds going here so you guys can see how over hot water, hot air accumulates, right? Over cooler water, cold air accumulates. Hot air rises, cold air rushes in to replace it. Then that hot air also, when it gets up to elevation, it's colder up there. So that hot air rises and cools and sinks and goes down into the cool air, causing your rotation. And you can see how these hot and cold water plumes next to each other are causing our oscillations or our conveyor belt structures that are guiding the weather. Okay, it's not the jet stream that's guiding the weather; it's our heat signatures. It's a new form of weather that's a little different than what everybody's used to seeing. Now, for this region right here, I want to just talk about this while we're here. We have this flow coming across, turning, going over hot water, hot moist air coming up into this region of the country. We also have this ridge right here where cold air is diving down the backside of the ridge and colliding with warm moist air. That's the dangerous situation. When you got cold air mixing with warm moist air, you get severe weather. Okay, and this will come in handy later on in our weather report. Whew. Okay, you guys see the correlating signatures here, the cold and the hot. It's not as defined as it was before, but it's still this conveyor belt structure being controlled by the thermal dynamics of the ocean, okay, of the vents on the ocean floor. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to take off the winds. We're going to leave it there for a minute. And we're going to come over here to this earthquake report. Now, here's where we're going to spend some time because this is very close to me. I can't tell you exactly where I'm at, but I'm within 20 miles as a crow flies from this. Okay, so I felt this. I felt the very beginning, I felt the middle, and I felt an increase at the end. And it all started with the bigger one right here, which came in at 5.8. Okay, earlier I did a little post and it was at 5.5. So they did bump it back up. This was a pretty significant quake. Our stuff was shaking. You could definitely tell it was an earthquake. Okay, so not far from me. Now, what you're looking at here is not a bunch of aftershocks. This is a quake swarm again. Okay. There's Shastina. Hi, sweetie. I'm glad you made it. Yeah, hop on in. Okay, so you see all of these quakes. There's quite a number of them here, all right? What I want to do, though, is if I can, do you see this feature right here, this triangle-shaped volcanic feature? I'm going to pull this over a little bit here. All right. You can tell this was an old volcanic feature. We have earthquake activity all around this volcanic feature. I want to touch on some of these really quick. This is a 3.0 at a depth of 1.7. Let's get a little 5.2, 11, 15. Wait, we had some. Here's 1.9, 1.8. I'm looking at the depths now, okay? What I'm trying to point out at is that these earthquakes are very close to the surface. And if you were to step aside from this and look at it from the side, you would see how tall this is. And some of these earthquakes are happening inside this mountain. If you were on the flat ground, they would be above you. So we're having magma intrusion in this area that is so close to the surface, we might see a new volcano here. Did you hear that? This might be a new little weakness in the crust. Okay, definitely a weak spot because we're seeing a quake swarm here. And what's just kind of irking me is the depth. That's like our deepest one at 15. The rest are like 3, 1 point something, 6. So they're really, really close to the surface. This whole quake swarm is right there, right under the ground, just right close to the surface there, okay? And it's still ongoing. You see the red? See these red ones? That means they're currently ongoing. We'll touch on some of the red ones. That's a 1.4 down at 7. Here's a 1.4 at 1. And that's a recent one. See, it's getting closer to the surface. I pray I'm wrong, and I hope it doesn't bust through the surface, but there's something really close to the surface right under there shaking that region. Okay, and that's really close to me. Now, let's get over to here, this quake swarm, okay? Now, this one was ongoing today. All these yellow ones were busting out pretty crazy, and then all of a sudden the activity here stopped when we had this quake swarm over here. This one started relieving pressure, and all the quakes here stopped for a couple hours. We're starting to see them fire back up, but just a couple. 2.9, that's close to the surface. There's a 2.4, that's close to the surface. See, we're getting these closer to the surface. This pressure being relieved right there at the surface. So when, like I said, when this thing started going off and having its little quake swarm, a bunch of this activity over here died or halted for a minute. Now, really quick, while we're here, no deep quake, nothing in this region at all. Okay, we come over here to our deep little pit area. But this is a 4.4 on a volcanic feature, 4.5 down at 21 on a volcanic feature. We have Krakatoa that's going off right here in the Sun to Strait. Right in the middle right there is the Krakatoa volcano. Just outside of it is a 5.1 down at 36. This is on this bar, this big ledge right here. So it's like a volcanic ridge line right there. You see it running? Let me take this out of there. Okay, you can see how it started up here. Some of this is above the water, goes down. So just outside the Sun to Strait where the volcano's going off right here, we're also seeing earthquake activity, 5.1 down below. And that's not at the surface, that's a little further down. So much pressure in the region that can't vent out through SO2s and volcanoes. We're seeing earthquake activity here. This is a 4.8 down deeper. Okay, so this isn't energy being relieved at the surface. This is pressure coming up, rocking this area because there's a new wave of energy coming through. There's a 5.7 over here at the mid-Indian Ridge. Okay, so we're seeing an uptick in magnitudes. I want to come over here before it's off the map because some of these in this region. We had this quake swarm happen since I last reported. With a 5.1, there was a bunch of 6s here. Okay, so they're off the map already. What I'm going to do is just really quick hop into this with all magnitudes, please. We'll go 7 geomagnetic. All right, so here's our bigger quakes: the 6, 6.3, 19. This one, please. Another 6.3 at 18, and these are different quakes. Those aren't the same quake. Another 6.1. So 3 6s in this region have fired off this little quake swarm in this region. More pressure being relieved at the surface. We're seeing bigger magnitude quakes besides a 5. We're getting into the 6 range, right? So big quake swarm, or not a big quake swarm, but big quakes and a continuing swarm there. Okay, and then I need to put that back on 1 day. Oh, man. So we had a lot of quake energy being relieved here. We had this one as well. This is a 5.0 down at 35. So a lot of bigger quakes in this region around Alaska. Okay, a lot of pressure being delivered at this swarm. Pressure being relieved here at the Juan de Fuca, and now pressure being relieved right there. Back up just a tad bit and touch on these really quick. 4.8 down at 156, 4.5 down at 79, nothing around the Taiwan because we have a new vent that opened up there that's relieving pressure, so we haven't seen quake activity there in a minute. really quick. 3.9. That's a little deeper down at 385. 4.8 at 45. And these aren't even at the surface yet. And then 4.9 there. Also, I want to touch on there was a 6 over here as well yesterday, right there. Yeah, 6 here at the Curl Islands down at 207. So we've had a 6 here, 3 6s there. We had the 7 over here, started the quake swarm. It's in there somewhere. So we got another 7 there. Basically, almost a 6 that hit here. It was a 5.8, so that's a pretty healthy 5, almost a 6 there. So we've seen an uptick in our earthquake amount of them and in the magnitude. Okay, getting back to our normal. Okay, so we have pressure come up from down below, deep quakes in this region, put pressure at the surface. It's running all along these plate boundaries, looking for any path of least resistance. Here's another good one right out here. Plate boundary. You see this 3-way junction right here? There's a lot of pressure builds in this little region. Now, you got to remember, this is a sphere. So if you took this map and bent it down and made a big bulge in it and made this warped and round like the surface of a ball, where do you think this would probably open up and crack right in there, huh? That's the weak spot, and you can see why there was a quake right there. Pressure from down below came up. It didn't release right at the plate boundary convergence right there at your fulcrum point, but just back off of it a little bit. Then we come over to our fulcrum point over here, okay? You see your plate boundary coming down, it makes a turn. Any kind of turn and energy like that makes a fulcrum. So here's your 4.9. You know what we do with those. Down at 33. Sometimes they're 4.9s, okay? Not every time, but a lot of them. Awful lot of 4.9s. Bingo. There's a 4.3 down to 2. Okay. Also, another plate boundary quake right there. Oh, we did that one. 5.7 on the mid-Indian Ridge, yeah. Nothing around Iceland. We got volcano going off there and real quiet along the mid-Atlantic Ridge. I bet there is some kind of activity going on there. But now we're going to jump into America. We already covered all these right here. This quake swarm. We had this one, which is a 5.0, a little further up the line. You see how it comes right up to the apex, right up to the fulcrum point, and then nothing on this side. Let me just kind of show you. It comes right up to that point, and then there's none until you get down to here. Up here in your Puget Sound, just a couple little small ones, little indicators of pressure wiggling around. Here's Mount St. Helens. There's an earthquake at the top, which means it's rattling the lava column that goes down into the lava fields below. Pressure coming up, hit this plug at the top, can't break through, so it rattles it. Earthquake activity on a volcanic top is indication of pressure down below. Then pressure came in here. You saw our fulcrum point activity. We had the 7 and the resuming quakes and everything. Then the moment this kind of stopped for a second, then pop right here. We had this go off, and it's still continuing to go. As we come in off of this, you see pressure pushing inland a little bit. Look, pressure pushing inland right here. These two, just smaller ones, mid-range 2s. Coming down into your geysers area, it's surely swarming out, with pressure. This is one of our weak spots that always swarming there. So, okay, so it's doing its job, relieving pressure as it comes down into the Bay Area, keeping magnitudes and quake activity down through there. Go down the San Andreas a little bit, not much. Something on the other side right here, 2.1 down at 5. 2.3 down. Whoa, that's it right at the surface there. Okay, we got 2 plates that come together here in the San Andreas. We got pressure popping off on one side at magnitude 3, on the other side right here, 2.1. So we got pressure on both sides of the plates popping off out here, right there. And if we come over to, take that out of there, please, thank you. We'll go over to null school, and let's just take a little peek at that region right there. Yeah, we're starting to see a little bit of, remember this was just right here? See how it's reaching into this region now? It had stopped right here. This is new, right up in here, this little area that I'm circling. Okay. New pressure, new heat coming out of that region means there's pressure underneath there. And it's popping off at the surface right here, up here, even down there. That's on our little boundary of our eye-shaped little structure. Okay, now coming over here, our typical earthquake activity at man-made perforations 2.1 and ongoing pressure at 1.6. Here in Oklahoma, 2.5, and now, yes, here we are at the fulcrum point of the New Madrid, where we have had a 2.2, 2.1, a 1.9, there's another one down here, 1.8. So we're seeing activity at the fulcrum point of the New Madrid. That's an indication of pressure down below too. Nothing up here on the craton, but boom, right there, you can see that. Let me just, really quick, 70 ohm magnitude. Aha, because I had a feeling there was a little bit more going on here. So I gave you all the orange ones. There's this one, a 1.8 as well. A bigger one back there. There's a 3 right there at the surface. So a 3, 2.2s. A little bit of activity going on in this region in the last couple of days because of all the pressure coming up from down below. All right. Quick little magnitude check here. 4.1, yeah, we're usually seeing 3.2 in this region, so 4.1, 3.7, definite uptick in magnitude right there as a result of pressure from down below. What's that? That's a 4.7 here at Honduras at the surface, right along the beach, right there in the weak zone. Okay, that kind of covers the earthquake. A lot of big magnitudes, swarming, big magnitude swarming. So that's what we're seeing lately when we get another round of pressure. Energy comes in from the sun, it hits a magnetic field. The magnetic field sends it to the poles. The poles absorb it and transfer it to the core. The core, being metal, when heated, expands. The core expands into the outer core, or the shell that's around it, and they start grinding on each other. That grinding also produces friction and more heat, by the way, heating up the magma that surrounds the two cores. Okay, the inner and outer. There's a boundary of magma, and when magma gets heated, it expands as well, and it pushes on the underside of the crust, looking for any pathway of least resistance, causing earthquakes and our volcano report. Yep, it caused a report. That's right. All righty. As you can see, instead of 37, we now have 38 currently erupting. And let me just kind of pop that up there. All right, erupting 38, warning 32. Okay, so we lost one in the warning and it went fully active. Come on, please bring that back up there. All right, 38, 32, that's 70. And I'm not even counting these ones that unrest. Okay, so 70 active volcanoes. If I'd have told you 7 years ago when all this stuff started happening to me that we would have 70 active volcanoes 7 years later, you would have just laughed. You would have, yeah, right, you're crazy. Well, here we are 7 years later with 70 volcanoes. And yes, I'm still crazy about you. Let's get into it, shall we? Sparensky, the eruption came to an end since December 8th. No glow is visible in the spatter cone crater. Canlone, all right, this is the one that we were seeing. It's not identifiable in satellite imagery. I showed you the video on that. We'll go back and visit that in a minute, too. Manam, 7,000 feet. IBU, 6,000 feet. Luatobi, 12,000 feet. Semaru, 14 or 15, Popocatépetl, nothing. Sporadic emissions out of Santa Guido, Fuego, 14,000, and that was just in the last few minutes. Okay, because here's today. This is December 9th, which is now yesterday because, well, time flies at this channel. Okay, there is the map of craziness. Note all the active volcanoes going along this part of the plate boundary system, keeping earthquakes and magnitudes down in that region. Up here we have all kinds of craziness: Shivalush, Klevskoy, Bizamani, Karaminsky, Adelaide, and Ebico, all currently erupting. Also Stromboli and Etna. Big stuff coming out of Stromboli and Etna lately. Svarensky currently erupting. And don't forget, even Antarctica has currently erupting volcanoes. Okay, so basically every continent, just except for right here in Australia, but all around it. Okay, let's get into this. You see this map? This is ground uplift. You see this little region right there in the middle, uplifted more than the rest. That's from pressure down below, pushing on the underside of the crust, uplifting land. Canalone. All right, there it is right there going off. That's the video that we watched coming into the show right there. Here, let's a quick little clip of it. Oh, maybe not. Manam. All right. Now, here we are. Home Reef Volcano, Tonga Island. Do you see this? This is a brand new volcano that just came up from the surface. It erupted from underwater. It was a volcanic vent on the ocean floor until it penetrated the surface of the water. And there's one of your little, your little seamounts busting through the water and becoming a new volcano, Home Reef Volcano. Okay. Pressure down below, finding a way to the surface right there. Svarensky, the effusive activity, eruptive activity at the site continues. Ebico, 13,000 feet. Canalone, unknown. But here, 5 to 4 kilometers high in altitude, okay? You saw that huge plume and that towering plume. That's another huge blast. And that's more ash in the atmosphere for water to cling to, causing more rain. Meanwhile, Manam, 7,000 feet. Semaru, 14 or 15. Dacono, 10,000. Here's Home Reef Island, Tonga Islands. Remember we were talking about the Tonga Islands over here in our deep quake report? Well, come back over here. Out here in the Tonga region. Well, coming to life out there with a new volcano. Home Reef, Tonga Island. The new effusive eruption at the volcano started about 2 days ago. About 2 days ago, when all of our earthquake activity started happening at the same time, almost like there was a round of pressure coming up from down below. There's Harley. Sup, bud? Hop on in at the volcano report. All right, so started about 2 days ago. Now, following the strong thermal anomaly detection imagery from December 7th, a new lava flow commenced to descend on the northern western slope, indicating a new batch of magma rising in the volcano. Popocatépetl, 19,000 feet. Santa Guido, sporadic emissions. Fuego, more sporadic emissions. Nevada del Ruiz, 20,000 feet. And Reventador, 15,000. These are the lists of insanity. If you showed this to the common person, they would just, what? No way. currently erupting. All right, that means like they're erupting right now, currently. And just because they didn't make the list doesn't mean, their height doesn't mean they're not erupting. Over here, any moment one of these can go live and go over here and go fully active. That's what we saw with Kenalone. Here's Krakatoa. Just went off the other day. Let's take a peek at this really quick. Krakatoa, Sunda Strait, Indonesia. Krakatoa volcano on April 19th. Lowered alert, but where is it? Oh, there's a good image right there in the Sunda Strait of where it's located. I wanted to... I don't have it there. Oh, phooey. You know what? There's your lists of insanity. Kluchevskoy, all these are just active. 7 years ago, there was just Hawaii, and it was just kind of puffing, a little spit and sputtering because it's a volcanic island. If I'd told you back then you're going to have 70 volcanoes, 38 of them erupting, just constantly erupting, you can just go, yeah, you're crazy. All right, let's get into our weather report. It's time for some tidbits. You guys made it this far. We'll reward you with a little tidbit. Open wide, here comes a tropical tidbit. Well, let's check out some models, huh? No, forecast models, not women. All right. As you can see, this big old storm is still kind of doing that same pattern that we had looked at the other day. Okay, so now here we go. Current conditions, the nighttime of December 9th. As we go into the morning hours, noon, convection. Here's that quasi-linear storm front, a QLCS forming right here, just like we had talked about last time, all right? Excuse me. This is tomorrow afternoon. So you people in this region, watch out for severe weather, not necessarily tornadoes, but you can see heavy downpours, large hail, possible tornadoes. There might be in there. You never know. There's J Posse here. What's going on? So that's your afternoon tomorrow. Now, as we get into the nighttime, you see the colder air at night reacting with that warm, moist air, getting severe. This is a very well-defined QLCS right there. Okay, so as we continue on, now the intensity on this map has diminished in the morning hour, but by noon the 11th, there's your severity again. Then by the convection of the 11th. Now, a lot of this is skirting the coastlines right up into the states again. So this time frame, the afternoon of December 11th, there's going to be very heavy snow, icing possibly up in this region as well. Okay, so heavy snow, all the way cold air, diving all the way down to here, causing, that's going to be a very, very interesting event there. So that'll be the afternoon of the 11th, and then the nighttime of the 11th. You can see rain and snow starting to encroach on the Pacific Northwest there, nighttime of the 11th. Morning of the 12th. This is still got cold air whipping around back behind it there. Meanwhile, Pacific Northwest here, there's the noon of the 12th, convection, nighttime, 13th, noon, convection, nighttime. All right, look at that. At this point, there's hardly anything on the map. At the 10 a.m. Pacific, that's noon in this region, okay? So at noon, you're just starting to see clouds pop up in there, and then the very next frame, bam, it hits that cold air barrier, snow and icing right there in the middle of this, that warm, moist air recycling up, cold air diving in, like I showed you before on the thermal map. Okay, meanwhile, this big storm right here is starting to encroach on the Pacific Northwest. There's your nighttime of the 13th, morning of the 14th, noon, convection, nighttime 15, noon, convection, nighttime 16, noon, convection, nighttime 17, noon, convection, nighttime 8. Come on, 18. There we go. Noon, come on. Noon me. There we go. Oh, skipped a couple there. So, all right, here's a this is a little further out, okay? It's not set in stone, but here's a good little setup. This is an example I kind of want to point out a little bit. A good little low trough that's diving in from over this ridge, right? It's coming in here. You see your warm, moist air coming up to meet it. Okay, this is the kind of activity I'm talking about. You get your quasi-linear storm front like this with pop-ups out in front of it there. Could be dangerous. Then as we get into the nighttime hours, the air cools. Okay, so the sun's down. This isn't convection because of the sun raising the cloud tops. This is air mass collision, warm, moist air colliding with cold air, causing convection at nighttime. Do you understand? Convection at nighttime and morning times because of cold air. So we're seeing ramping up in the morning, nighttime and morning hours as opposed to afternoon and evening. All right, there we go. And then here's another little severe batch coming into the Pacific Northwest around the morning of the 19th. There's noon, convection, nighttime, 20th. Noon, convection, nighttime, 21, noon, convection, nighttime, 22, noon, convection, nighttime, 23. Look at this. Noon, convection, nighttime, 24. Whew. Christmas Eve, guys, traveling is going to probably be very, very disrupted. You might want to make plans to travel ahead of time and then not on this day right here or in this time frame, because as you see, that's a very intense low. It gets very organized, tight comma shape structure, QLCS there. And there's the noon of the 24th, nighttime the 24th. There's Christmas Day, or no, nighttime the 24th right there, morning of Christmas Day. Wow. Merry Christmas. Washington, D.C. is gone. No, I'm joking. There's the nighttime of the Christmas. There's morning, or what happened there? Okay, nighttime the 24th, morning the 25th, noon, convection, nighttime. Come, give me this last one. Oh, maybe that's the end of it. Yeah, that's the end of it right there. So we're all the way out to the convection of the afternoon of the 25th of Christmas. So that's still a ways out there, but you can see this well-organized low taking its time. So from anywhere you want to get your travel done before this low reaches Texas right there, because once it does, it's on. And it's just going to continue to cut across the eastern half of the country through from Christmas Eve and Christmas. And then we got more coming on the West Coast there. All right, let me go ahead and just start that loop really quick. The next event is this one right here. All right, that's the one I want everybody to be aware of and prepared for. Okay, if you're in that region or you have family and friends in that region that don't pay attention to the weather that much, give them a heads up. There we are, morning of the 11th, noon the 11th. So noontime the 11th, the East Coast is going to have their hands full. And you see snow right here, that close on the backside right there. So snow, you're going to have severe weather with snow right behind it. And there's your convection of December 11th right along the East Coast right there. Okay, so everybody get ready, because today's the 10th and that'll be tomorrow. Well, within the next 48 hours right there. Okay, so I think that's it for our astrophysics, geophysics, and now it's time to move on into, well, what some would call metaphysics, but what I call our spiritual report. Okay, a lot of this stuff can be very disturbing, and we got a lot of stuff that's happening is biblical. So we got to cover that part. If we're going to get a page to open up here. Oh, well, maybe it's going to open up for me, huh? Hang on. this USGS site. It's blocking it, I think. There we go. Let me pull up a few images really quick here for us to read to. And maybe we'll do just a little bit of covering some history here a little bit. Which one is it? There we go. All right, so before we get into our reading, just kind of touch base with some of these faces in the clouds. All right, they follow me everywhere I go. This is the same little mountain right here where I took those pictures with Jesus in the clouds, okay? Kind of hard to see, but there's an eye here, an eye here. The mouth is here. There's some kind of like bat face type face right there. All right, it's really hard to see, but it's there. Okay, and then I took a few pictures going into the store. Okay, and then when I came out of the store, this face had changed into the Grinch. Okay, now hopefully you can see the Grinch here. Let me pull up a little bit better, and just for your viewing pleasure, there we go. See his eyes, his nose, his puffy cheeks, little mouth right there. Okay. And the Grinch, well, the Grinch stole Christmas, right? He's the one that doesn't like Christmas. All right, so he's a representative of the side that doesn't like Christmas. All right, and then as we continue on, I continue to take pictures of this face, and it just gets more and more advanced. You see, starting to grow horns here. And then all of a sudden, what was the Grinch with horns is now turning into the dragon. And you can see this face right here is a little bit more, that didn't work. It's a little bit more defined. And you can see the dragon right there. And this is a real events. This is real stuff going on in your skies. If you guys would look up and get out of your cell phones and quit texting and doing all kinds of shenanigans and just lifted your head up, you would see there's activity going on in your clouds. And most of it is like really big and up and close in your face, so you can't see it. It's not until you compress these images that you can see them, okay? They're in a different dimension. Like if you could step outside your body and walk 5 miles back and then turn around, you would be able to see from this perspective, okay? Now you can see that there's a face here, the crown above it, all right? If you tilt your head to the right, there's 2 eyes, the nose, the mouth, chin and beard, hair flowing back, and a crown hovering above it right there. And that was an hour-long event that I just kept clicking away, taking as many pictures as I could, okay? It's important that you guys know that these are real images, that this is not computer generated, this is not AI, this is not Photoshop, this is the clouds. Okay, and now we're going to get out of that. We're going to come over here. We're going to open up another little video of mine to read to here. So not only are giant faces following me around everywhere I go, they watch, follow, and study my every move, just like you guys do. You watch, you follow your YouTube, and you study. Here, let's play this really quick, because this is a quick little compilation of those pictures put into the flip book, where you can see this lion face now. Okay, Jesus turns into this little lion face. So I'm going to play this little video really quick here for you. This image right here, this is a flip book of about maybe 15 or 20 of those pictures, and it's the transition between Jesus's face and the lion face. Now, this happened in the clouds, and it was so big and in your face you couldn't see it. It wasn't until I took these images and zoomed out and compressed them. You didn't zoom in. They're too big in your face. You have to zoom out to see these. And these images that you're looking at have all been compressed, each frame, and then put into a flip book. And you can clearly see Jesus's face here with his crown hovering over his head, turning into that weird little lion face or whatever right there. Okay, so there's that one. I want to pull up another one here real quick. Just bear with me. Same one, my channel, but I'm going to have two of them open. So bear with me just a second here. We're going to come over here and put Brian Knight is coming. Now, this was a weather chaser who was chasing down a tornado. And when he chased down the tornado, he was taking video of the tornado flipping this van. In the background was captured what is called an EVP, an electromagnetic voice print. Okay. It's basically stuck electromagnetically on the audio of this man's video. Okay. And what it's saying in the background is my name. And I'm going to go ahead and play this really quick. Hopefully you can hear this. Try not to blow out your ears. But this is an EVP coming in on this guy's device. He doesn't hear it. It's on the recording later when you play the recording. So this is real stuff. Brian Knight is coming like a lion. And he's got, weird stuff, but been plagued with this stuff too, so I know it's real. Okay, it's very disturbing when your radio or stereo stops playing music and the spiritual realm starts talking to you through your device. Okay, you shouldn't go into this realm and dig around necromancing and listening to voices from the other side. I played this because it's part of what's going on. Brian Knight is coming like a lion. Okay, Brian Knight is coming like a lion. Okay, right here.
They're dangerous.
Like a lion. Okay, and you see the devastation from that was from that tornado there. Okay, and this gentleman is a storm chaser. He didn't hear this on his recording. He just put this video up there. And when I was playing this video, I heard that, and I'm like, oh dear. So imagine if this was happening to you and no one believed you. Yeah, and that's why it's so important that you believe. Okay, that's why the most important part is believing and trusting me. Okay, now what I'm going to do is we're going to pop out of this one and come back to my channel. I just needed to play that very quickly. You shouldn't go dancing around. What's weird is all the spirits in the spiritual realm know. They all know who I am. All the animals on the planet know who I am, except for the humans. And there are some that are catching on to what's going on, like you guys. Okay, so now we're getting into this right here. Pull up. The faces in the clouds have changed into my face after this ad. After this wonderful ad, you guys. All right, we have my face now forming in the clouds with a crown above it. And if you look back behind, it's coming from, well, it's coming from the Holy of Holies, from Jesus' heart right there. Okay. When you seek my face, you will find the Holy of Holies. Okay. It's It's my heart projecting my face in the clouds. Okay, because of who I am. All right. Now let's get this show on the road here. I got some reading for you guys. And what was it that I was going to pull up too also? Oh, we need that one by the moon really quick. We'll just change that one out and pull up one by the moon really quick. That one by the moon is very important too, okay? Because what's important about this one by the moon here, there will be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars, right? Well, here's your signs in the moon. Right next to the moon is my face showing up. And the night that this happened was during this part of the show when I was reading the spiritual report. Okay. So I'm doing the spiritual report. I'm reading to you guys. Meanwhile, somebody on the other side of the country is recording my face by the moon at the same moment. Pretty amazing stuff, huh? Okay. So everybody take a nice deep breath, get all comfy, get curled up, and just take a deep breath and relax, all right? We've been through a lot, we've seen a lot, but it's all part of this script, of the scriptures, okay? So when you see these things come to pass, they shouldn't rattle you, they should reassure you. So if you're on that path of reassurance where you see these things and it doesn't rattle you and you find that you can overcome it, that's the path, okay? And I want you to continue on this path with me, enjoying my presence even in adversity. I am always before you, as well as alongside you. See me beckoning to you. Come and follow me like all the other things are. See, and the one who goes ahead of you, me, that's me, the one who goes ahead of you, opening up the way, is the same one who stays close and never lets go of your hand. I am not subject to the limitations of time and space. I am everywhere at every time, ceasingly working on your behalf. I am everywhere at every time working on your behalf. That should give you some reassurance. Okay? That's why your best efforts are trusting me and living close to me. Okay? That's why you gotta give this a try. And when you do, that's when you let me help you through each day. The challenges you face are far too great for you to handle alone. You are keenly aware of your helplessness in the scheme of events you face, and this awareness opens up a choice. You have a choice when you become aware. The choice is to doggedly go it alone or to walk with me in humble steps of dependence. Actually, this choice is continually before you, but difficulties highlight the decision-making process. So, consider it all joy whenever you are enveloped in various trials, because these are gifts from me reminding you to rely on me. Okay, so your adversity are gifts, they're blessings. Doesn't seem like it, but they are because you're overcoming them. Okay, your adversity are the gifts from me, and they're reminding you to rely on me. When you rely on me, that awareness opens up the choice to doggedly go it alone or to walk with me. So try walking with me. You've had enough frustration trying to go it alone, haven't you? So try walking with me. You'll see it's a better way. Okay. And then again, when you see this face, okay, you see my face in the clouds. This is my face again. All right, we're going to go to this one for a second. And we do a lot of striving, okay? We're striving to stay calm. We're striving to, salvage the day, but save your best striving for seeking my face. I am constantly communicating with you. To find me and hear my voice, you must seek me above all else. And anything that you desire more than me becomes an idol. So when you're determined to get your own way, you blot me out of your consciousness. Instead of single-mindedly pursuing some goal, talk with me about it. Let the light of my presence shine on this pursuit so that you can see it from my perspective. If the goal fits into my plans for you, I will help you reach it. If it's contrary to my will, if your request is contrary to my will for you, I will gradually change the desire of your heart. So seek me first and foremost, then the rest of your life will fall into place piece by piece. So when you seek my face, you seek me first and foremost, the rest of your life falls into place piece by piece, doesn't it? When you get this perspective, all of a sudden those pieces start falling into place real quick, and you're realizing what's going on and who you are and where you are and who I am. What else do I have for you guys here? Oh, yeah. Back to this one again. All right, let's get up close and personal. See that face right there? Okay. I want you to rest in my radiant presence. The world around you seems to spin faster and faster until everything's just a blur. But there is a cushion of calm at the center of your life where you can live in union with me. So return to this soothing center as often as you can, for this is where you are energized. You're filled with my love, joy, and peace. It's my love, joy, and peace that energizes you, isn't it? When you see these images and you hear my voice, it's my love, joy, and peace that energizes you. This world is a needy place, so do not go there for sustenance. Instead, come to me. Learn to depend on me alone, and your weakness will become saturated with my power. Your weakness will become saturated with my power. And when you find your completeness in me, you can help other people without using them to meet your needs. So live in the light of my presence, and your light will shine brightly into the lives of others. Okay, that's what we're doing. And these closing moments while we wait, patience and persistence, we live in the light of my presence, and then you can bring that light into the lives of others. Okay. Here, let's do this last one right here for you guys. I'm gonna put it on this. Right. Yeah, that one. Here I've taken these images and turned them 90 degrees so you don't have to tilt your head. Let me center this one here in the middle a little bit better. Right there. These two. This one here and this one, so you can see it a little bit better. It's a little clearer. You are mine for all time and beyond time into eternity. For those of you that believe me and trust me, well, then you are mine. And if you are mine because you believe me and trust me, then you are mine for all time and beyond time into eternity. Okay? And there is no power that can deny you your inheritance in heaven. I want you to realize how utterly secure you are. Even if you falter as you journey through life, I will never let go of your hand. So knowing that your future is absolutely secure, absolutely assured, you can go live freely and live abundantly now. Okay? Knowing that your future is absolutely assured can free you to live abundantly today. I have prepared each day for you with the most tender concern and attention to detail. So instead of approaching each day as a blank page that you need to fill up, try living it in a responsive mode, being on the lookout for all that I am doing. Now, this sounds easy, but it requires a deep level of trust based on the knowledge that my way is perfect. Okay? We're salvaging each day with the help of Jesus. Okay? That way is perfect. You cannot go wrong. When you are using Jesus to salvage your day, to bring that light into the light of others, you cannot go wrong. That way is perfect. Okay? That is perfection. When you include Jesus in everything you do, then you are striving for perfection. That's what we're trying to do here. It's not um, based on your performance either. It's your willingness to try. Because when you try some of these disciplines, you find the peace that I'm talking about. That's why it's important that you just believe and give it a shot and give it a try. When it doesn't happen right away, don't be disappointed. Sometimes it takes a little longer for other people. Okay? Baby steps here aren't baby steps, they're huge. They're gigantic steps, but they just take other people at different rates, different paces. Okay? So if the miracle doesn't happen right away, stick around until it does. Most people have, and that's why they're here. Okay, because this is the real deal. This is not CGI. This is real clouds on Easter. That should just make you guys rejoice. Okay. I wrote part of these readings. Some of them are notes incorporated with, notes incorporated with other scripture that I have put together in a way that's palatable for you to grasp a hold of. Okay. If I were to explain it my way, it would confuse you guys. You wouldn't be able to understand. So I got to do it this way. All right. A lot of those readings are notes from experience combined with scripture. So the concept can be grasped. Okay. So you can grasp the concept of how all this stuff works. Okay. It's not like Hollywood described. Okay. We are in those times. If you look up, you will see me coming in the clouds. And when you see this, it's fascinating. It's intriguing. Like a good movie or a good book or a good song, you get caught up in it. It takes you away from your circumstances for a while. You see my face, you hear my voice, and you get caught up in it. Okay? It's not caught up like a little white dot that disappears into the sky like they would have you believe in Hollywood. The rapture, the word rapture is not in the Bible. Yet everybody is rapture this, rapture, post, pre, mid-trib, rapture, rapture, rapture. But do you ever hear anybody saying getting caught up? Like, in a good song, good book, good picture, good cloud, you get caught up. If you see my face there coming in the clouds with power and great glory, and you're caught up with it, then you realize that we have met in the air of cyberspace. We have met in the air of cyberspace where I have gone ahead and made a place that where I am here at Brian Knight's channel, you may be also. And if I'm not here at the moment doing a live stream, you can click on any live, any video in my channel and hear my voice or see my face. Okay, I might even turn the camera around and scare you guys a little bit, but that's anytime you need, you can always come over here. Okay, take a break, take a deep breath, regain composure, and go back into the battle. Okay. When you regain composure and you shake off the world and you refuse to let the world get you down and you salvage that moment, and then the day goes on and another event happens, but you refuse to go down and you salvage that moment, and then you continue on and you salvage another moment throughout the course of a day and you have three, then that's a glory. and you went from glory to glory to glory. And that's how you glory in your tribulation, by overcoming the adversity. That's what makes you strong. That's what gives you real strength, is having experience at overcoming adversity, experience, practicing these disciplines and getting experience, having a couple notches in your belt of success. So when something comes down the pike and smacks you, you will respond properly. Okay. And if you don't, that's okay. When you finally do catch yourself not responding properly, take a minute, recover. Okay. It's not timing you on how long. It's a tool for you to use when it happens. Okay. That's what this is for. I've discovered something that's very important that can be used for you. Okay. I give this as a gift, free to you, so you can utilize this tool. Okay. It's true. It's really happening. It really works. The people that practice these disciplines by default are a disciple. If you're practicing a discipline, root word disciple, okay? So practicing a discipline makes you a disciple. You are a disciple who is practicing salvaging your day. While we wait patiently and we persevere. Patience, persistence, perseverance, overcoming obstacles, growing spiritually day to day to day, continuing on, spiritually growing each day stronger and stronger with peace that transcends your circumstances, takes the sting out of them, huh? All of a sudden you realize, oh, it's just a test. I'm going to do my best at trying to pass this test. What's the best way to pass it? Well, include Jesus in it. You can't go wrong. Okay? And these are all things that I do each day myself, and I have found that it works. Okay? And just keep trying. Okay? Just hang in there. If you don't believe me yet, just keep trying. Keep working at it. You'll see that it's true. And then really quick, let's just do this. You see that face right there? I'm going to have to back up a little bit. I'm going to scare you guys. Ready? Here we go. You're going to see my ugly mug. Hi. Recognize me? That face look familiar? That's your face right there on the moon. Whoops, one more. Yep, same dude. Actually, this is when I was just a tad bit younger, because I don't have wrinkles in my forehead here. So this is definitely my face. Probably a little younger, maybe in my 20s or 30s or something, but I recognize my own face. Now, it's not like I spend a lot of time in the mirror, looking at myself, but I do have to shave and occasionally brush my hair and stuff like that. So I do get to see my face every once in a while. And when it shows up on somebody else's video, well, then it's a little, I recognize my own face. And I think you guys might too. Every once in a while, I'll show you, just because, reassure you that I am indeed a person. I am indeed alive. The Word was made flesh and is dwelling among you, just like last time. And just like last time, nobody believed, nobody trusted. A few did. And how blessed were the ones that believed and trusted? How blessed were the ones that believed and trusted? Well, that would be you guys, the new round of disciples. Okay, so go get them, you guys. You're doing really great. I know there's a lot of things that are unfolding that are really starting to show the biblical signs as well. As far as, boy, all I hear all day today is Damascus, the ruinous heap. The ruinous heap of Damascus. All day, everybody's thinking that all day long. And yeah, you're seeing it, aren't you? Just as it was foretold in the Bible 2,000 years ago, just like this was foretold in the Bible 2,000 years ago, the Revelation 12 star alignment. Boy, there's just so many things that are happening. So much prophecy happening on a day-to-day basis can rattle a person. Okay, when you understand what it's for and that it's part of the script, well, then you're not so rattled. And then when you realize that you are building a relationship, this is not a religion. This is a relationship. I know everything about you. You're getting to know me. Now, how does that make you feel knowing that you are secure, that you are indeed building a relationship with the King of Kings, the Most High, that He's teaching you the way so you may have peace that transcends your circumstances, that you will indeed grow and gain strength by overcoming your adversity. That's the only way you can get stronger, is by actually practicing and overcoming and getting some notches in your belt, seeing success in your own life. So the moment something comes, you will know exactly what to do. You will not falter. You'll go, okay, this is one of those tests. I'm going to lay into it the best I can. Jesus, please help me with this. Grant me the serenity to accept the circumstances that I cannot change. Try that. You can change that prayer around so much. As long as you started off with, God, grant me the serenity to accept. You're accepting that you're not in control of everything. Okay. When you accept that fact, all of a sudden a lot of the stress kind of falls away. You can give that to me. Give your stress, your anxiety, your fears to me, because I know what to do with them. I help you overcome them, and then we make a nice little glory out of it. And I make a collage out of your glories, and we just keep going from glory to glory to glory. And you guys are just doing it. You're go-getters. And that's what I like, is go-getters. Keep going. You guys are doing well. Things are looking a little weird, but you guys are standing strong. Okay, this is the rock. This is your foundation. Okay. If you're here and you see me in the clouds coming with power and great glory, you're caught up in this show where I met you in the air of cyberspace live on YouTube, where I went ahead and made my channel that where I am, you may be also. Any time of the day, you can click on my channel. Okay. Go see anything you want. There's lots of stuff there. Okay. That's it for tonight. I love you all. We got to check one more thing, and it was the, wait a second, not done yet. We're going to check on, oh, that's right, the X-Flare here. Or it wasn't an X-Flare, the M6. It looks like it's kind of diminishing and over. We'll have to save the satellite images for later because I don't think they're quite updated yet. Let's maybe see if this will let me open one more page. And we'll just take a peek at the this one more time to see what popped out of that region there. Oh, it's coming out down here. See this down here? Let's capture that last frame. Oh, there's 8 of 10, 9 of 10, right there. There's our event coming out of this region right here. We'll cover more of this tomorrow night. Okay, so just touching base with our ongoing event right there that is now tapered off and finished, was coming out of that region. Okay, so that is it for tonight. All right, and your earthquake report and everything. So everybody, you're doing well. Hang in there. Keep practicing. The more you practice this, the better versed you get at it, the easier it'll become, and it'll be second nature. And pretty soon things might still rattle you because it keeps ratcheting up. So you just keep ratcheting up too. Okay? Just pace yourself. And pretty soon you'll be making progress, and you will be living a lot richer and fuller. You'll be enjoying your days where everybody else is stressing out on their days. So that's how you beat the anxieties, including Jesus in everything that you do. And pretty soon you're going to be walking in the light, shining into other people's lives. So you guys are doing it. Way to go. I love you all. I miss you all. I got to go for now. But until my next show, Brian Knight will be back. Brian Knight is coming like a lion. And he's gone. I love you all. Bye. And there we go.